So if you're like me and you start each year with a fresh planner and big ambitions to track your goals and healthy habits, then you probably already know what happens after a few months or even weeks. Tracking starts feeling like this huge chore, and when you give up on a habit or your priorities shift, the guilt is real and can get you all the more demotivated. But I found a layout that seems to be the perfect balance for me that I want to share with you so it can inspire your very own weekly dashboard where tracking feels good and sustainable. Let's dive in. So you'd usually see trackers with these 8 glasses drawn on them or drops for water intake. And while it's important to stay hydrated, not everyone will want to track that all year round. And it's the same for the other habits like sleep, working out, etc. It would be fine if nothing about your life changed for a month or a year straight, but that's just not what happens. Our priorities shift, sometimes week to week. The second one of those habits stops mattering, or you just don't have the capacity for tracking several things anymore, then you feel guilty every time you see it staring back at you. And a lot of people don't just abandon the tracking per se, but they also abandon the whole notebook because it becomes a reminder of how much we're quote-unquote failing. And after experimenting with different layouts, this one is what ended up working, where I have just the right amount of structure to keep everything contained, but also flexible enough to grow and change with me. So this is my weekly dashboard, and it's a horizontal weekly spread with 2 main parts. You have a dated area on the left and an open grid space on the right. And I like having my planner and tracker in one page because then I'm more likely to check it because I plan almost every day. And I got inspired by Rachel in Theory's video on the widget style weekly planning idea, and so I thought I would do my version of it on an e-ink tablet, which for me is just perfect for this type of tracking, especially with the most recent feature that Remarkable released, which I'll talk about later. And if you're interested in this specific template, I have that for the Remarkable, Supernote, and Kindle Scribe, link in the description box below. Okay, so let's actually go through how I set up this page. So I track and plan my tasks and appointments on the dated side on the left, and this open grid on the right. Before I use it for notes and a running to-do list, and now I'm using it to track. So here I track 4 main things. One is my project focus for the week, and then my satisfaction rating for each of my life areas, or what we call the wheel of life, my sleep and energy, and my deep work time blocks. So I use the capture tool in my Remarkable, which was made available on software update 3.28, and at the time of this recording it's on beta, but it will be officially released soon. And so I go to the toolbar here, and this is the select menu, and then you have 2 options. Before, you only had this selection tool, and now you have the capture tool. And I use a PDF which I put together with set templates. So you just trace the outline like so. For instance, this one, just try to keep as close as possible to the borders, and then you go to the document. So let me go to a fresh page here, for instance here, and then you tap on the page, and then there it is. Then you can resize it. And even if you draw something on top of it, for instance, let me draw a circle here, for instance, and you want to copy this image again, then you can do that. It will not affect or copy over the marks that you made on top of it. So that's really handy for something like this where you are reusing the same tracker for each of the weekly pages. So let me just walk you through what I track and how I track. So the first one is the project's focus for the week. And I have another video here where I show my dedicated project planner on the Remarkable Move for everything related to my content and personal projects. But since I still use the Paper Pro as my desk planner, I like to put my project focus here as well. Then I use this tracker template to mark the days that I've actually worked on the project. And this keeps me accountable, and it serves as a daily reminder of moving the project forward regardless of whether I did something small or big for that project. So it's a proof that I showed up. Next is sleep. So lately I haven't been sleeping very well, but I also know how much that affects my mood and energy levels during the day. So sleep is something I definitely want to track this season of life. And before, I would just draw a little line graph. I would put the numbers here. So you can also do it that way. Then you can mark them like this. Let me try that again. And there's this thing with the Remarkable that if you hold it like this, the line will snap into place. So that's very handy. And I just do the same, but I don't have to draw the sleep tracker template. So they're all there. And then the dots are my energy levels for that day. Now, the thing is, maybe when my sleeping gets better again, I won't want to track it daily like how I'm doing it right now. And I think this is the appeal of this flexible approach to tracking, because then I can just swap it out for some other habit, which I'm going to give more examples of later. Next is this tiny calendar that I call my deep work time blocking log. Now, I also have a vertical weekly layout here in my daily life book planner that looks like this, but it's more for set appointments. So for planning ahead and tracking when I actually engaged in deep sessions, I use this one, and I just mark it with these lines that I use the highlighter for. So I just do it like that, and then I keep it still, and then it will snap into place. And I listen to a lot of Cal Newport, and I'm sold to the idea that we need to be protective of our time in deep focused work, especially in an age of distractions and fragmented attention. So tracking this area of my working life is important for me to know that I'm tending to my cognitive health in this way. Now, you can use it in other ways, like maybe marking the time slots where you have meetings, for instance, like this. So you get a snapshot of how busy your week will go. Now, lately, I've been tracking this wheel thing, the Wheel of Life, where I rate a few life areas and color it in instead of writing a number. So there are different versions, but for this specific one, I track my work or vocation, level of satisfaction, finances, relationships with family or friends, significant other, ideas and learning, fun and recreation, health, and physical environment. I just color them in based on my level of satisfaction. So if it's colored all the way through, then it's a 5, and the lowest will be 1. So the inner circle here. So usually I do it on Fridays or towards the end of the week. It's slower than just scribbling the number rating, but there's something calming actually and intentional about coloring in the spaces and really slowing down to think about my life as a whole. So if I see that work seems to be a 10 for 2 consecutive weeks and family and friends is at 5, then this insight presents me with a choice to actually do something about it, so I feel more connected and social the following week. So for me, weekly is just the ideal time horizon for this type of tracking because it's immediate enough to be actionable, short enough to be sustainable, but also zoomed out enough to reveal useful patterns. And having this constraint, this relatively small space, also makes me more intentional about what to actually track in my life. So I'm not tracking 10 different things at the same time, you know? So I just choose the things that will actually fit in this space here. And if setting up these kinds of trackers that I showed before is not your thing, then this same layout also works fine as more of a visual diary, 1 line a day type of journaling. You can split your day into thirds using these little dots here as guides. So you can use it as a meal tracker for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or a 1-line journal in the morning, afternoon, and evening, or just for the whole day. And if you're managing a chronic illness, for instance, it's a good tool to spot and jot down symptoms as they happen. And then you can just use one of these tracker templates here. For instance, this 1 to 5 scale here to rate the severity of the symptom. So instead of locking into a fixed tracker before you even know how your life's going to unfold, you get a flexible system and decide 1 week at a time what's actually worth your attention. And sometimes it means not tracking anything at all, and that's fine too. So that grid space is there to become whatever you need it to be. And if you've got your own way of dealing with tracker guilt or a layout that you found particularly useful to stay on top of your tasks and habits without the overwhelm, feel free to share them in the comments below. All right, see you in the next one, and until then, stay paperful.